In this video we're making an adjustable red string bracelet. This design has 2 sliding knots and 7 barrel knots as detail around the bracelet. To start with, I measure in about 20 centimeters from one end, and then holding that 20 centimeter mark near the tip of my finger, we bring the right end of this cord around 3 times to form 3 loops around the tip of our finger. Now we gently remove those loops off our finger. Then we're going to poke this longer cord down our 3 loops from the left hand side, pulling it out the right hand side, and then working our knot down gently so that it's nice and tight and tidy. We want it to sit about on that 20 centimeter mark, but a little bit either side is fine. So you can pull that nice and tight. Now we want to try and place our barrel knots about 1 inch apart. So this time we're going to just hold the tip of our finger about 1 inch away from that first knot, bringing this right end of the cord around the tip of our finger 3 full loops, and then passing the end of the cord down all 3 loops from the left hand side, pulling it out the right hand side. And this time we're going to work really gently with our little knot to pull it down and have it sit on that 1 inch mark. Once you know they're in the right position, you can pull them really nice and tight down onto that 1 inch mark. Now again, placing our fingertip about that 1 inch mark, wrapping our cord around 3 times to form our 3 loops. Gently taking our loops off our finger and then poking this end down all 3 loops, pulling it out the right hand side and gently working our knot down so that it sits on that 1 inch mark away from the other knot. Pulling that knot down nice and tight, and then we do the same thing again until we have 7 knots in total and they're each 1 inch apart. Now your knot should be placed about the center of your cord. So I just check that my ends are a similar length. Now it's on to our sliding knot. So lay your bracelet down with the knots on the bottom side and the tails pointing upwards. Now we bring each tail inwards around itself and through the loop to form a little overhand knot on each side. Doing the same on both sides and having them sit down quite close to the knots, probably about 1 inch away on each side. Then we can pick our bracelet up and we're gently going to place the right side cord down the left knot and the left side cord down the right knot. Now pulling all your knots and threads nice and tight, and you should be able to pull the 2 sliding knots together, and that will adjust your bracelet as well. So now you want to take some time and figure out the sizing of your bracelet. You want to check that it can extend and fit over your wrist. So just checking the size of it that way. And you also want to check and just make sure that those center knots sit right in the middle. They're nice and even and in proportion. My one I think is just a little bit big, so I'm just going to gently loosen and slide my little sliding knots a little bit closer. That way I'm going to have my sliding knot sit right in the middle of 2 of the other knots, and it's going to just look like another knot in the middle there. You can always untie and retie these sliding knots until you're happy with them. Then pull them nice and tight and they should be sitting nice and even. Once you know you're happy with them, then you can pop some little stopper knots on the ends of your tails. Try and have them sit nice and even as well. Then I cut the tails off about 1 centimeter from the knots and singe the ends so they don't fray.